Hello everybody and welcome to Absolute Motorsport TV. We're here today at round 7 of the Bennett's British Superbike Championship here at Thruxton, and we've only got 7 races now until the all-important Showdown, where the championship is decided and podium credits are on the line. Scott Redding is the current points leader with 6 wins, and we've got a few new faces in new teams this week. With Glenn Irwin having his first race at Tyco BMW following his axe from Kawasaki, and he's been replaced by Hector Barber, who's now got that seat full time. So a few people to look out for there. Should be an interesting day's racing. Peter Hickman has looked very fast. Taron McKenzie broke his radius yesterday and he's out of the event, so yeah, let's see what happens. First up was the pit walk. An opportunity to grab a quick word with a few of the riders. Xavier, are you enjoying Thruxton?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, nice. Fast track.
What's the target for today?
Always podium.
Always podium.
Podium.
And are you carrying anything this weekend? Or all good for a change?
Just the back end of me. Job, but it's okay, it doesn't affect me on the bike.
Yeah, no, you're the master at riding with injuries.
I don't mean to be.
In total, some 40,000 fans visited the Hampshire circuit over the weekend, a record for the track. It certainly felt busy, with the trackside grass banks completely packed for most of the day. After the Superbikes warm-up session, the race action got underway with the Superstock 600, where Liam Delves picked TJ Toms for the win. Superstock 1000 was next up and delivered an exciting finish as Taylor McKenzie timed his attack perfectly, passing Lee Jackson at the final chicane on the last lap to take victory. A brilliant BSB Race 1 followed, with a tight pack at the front providing an enthralling race. More on that one later. The reverse grid sidecar race 3 was next on the schedule, and that was won by Steve Kershaw and Stuart Clark. After that was the Motorstar Race 2, and that was won by Asher Durham, with championship leader Brandon Pash right behind in second. The penultimate race of the day was the Supersport and GP2 feature race. GP2 rider Kyle Ride took the overall win, with Jack Kennedy taking the Supersport win in second to extend his championship lead. Finally was a bizarre Superbike Race 2, with not 1 but 2 red flags halting the race.
So we're at the end of an interesting day of racing. We had 2 very different British Superbike races. Race 1 was won by Andrew Irwin, who took his first ever win in the championship, and he came out on top of a really close battle. I think at points over the race there were 5 or 6 different people who could have won, but in the end he came out on top, just in front of Scott Redding, who tried to go around the outside of the final chicane, but it couldn't quite work, and Irwin held on to win that very tight race there. Race 2, on the other hand, was a very odd one. We had 2 red flags, one for rain, where we were stood. It wasn't too bad, the rain, but I think it was quite bad at the last chicane, so they had to stop that race. Then while they were stopping it, the rain stopped, so when they restarted they were still on slick tyres, reduced to 13 laps. Then there was another red flag with Glenn Irwin crashing his Tyco BMW, and that then setting ablaze very briefly, so they had to red flag it again, clear up the track, and then they started it again for the final time, 8 laps this time. First 2 starts, Josh Brooks was there at the front. He had Hickman with him the first time, Irwin with him the second time. That's Andrew Irwin, not Glenn Irwin, of course, who crashed. But the third time, 8 laps, then he just really pushed on. He had a massive gap and everyone was in a very different group. Very interesting in the second race that Scott Redding picked up a long lap penalty for a track limits infringement, but he didn't serve the long lap penalty, and that therefore meant he got a ride through equivalent time penalty at the end of 15 seconds that put him right down the order. So even though he crossed the line second, gaining 2 positions going into the final chicane, he was shunted right down the order, so that meant that Irwin was second and Hickman was third in the second race. But a good day for Josh Brooks with third and then that dominant win the second time round, and Andrew Irwin will be very pleased as he's put himself into showdown contention. Good days for him and Hickman in catching up with Xavi Forés for that 6th and final place in the showdown.